But he shouldn't have told you.
Yes. Good morning, Lorcia! Welcome to the DJ's Food Breakfast!
Our national teams of every sporting event need you guys. And we're going to bring home the gold. Castor doesn't need you though because she brings home the gold anyway. Hey everyone!
No, we love you, that's why. We love you, that's why. We're big fans. We're big fans of your work.
Thank you.
And for a while, it's crazy. I mean, I think more than half of the people that come to the show, we've interviewed them before in our previous shows at Metro and at YFM.
Yeah.
She's the first person I've never interviewed.
Me neither.
In my life. You've never interviewed her either, no?
No.
Have you interviewed her?
What have you?
You haven't as well.
No, guys, how?
So she's our first.
Why are you hiding?
I'm a first for a lot of people, by the way.
When did you fall in love with dance? And did you know that it'll change your life and become a career?
I don't think I fell in love with dance. I don't think I fell in love with dance. I was 4 years old. My gran was like, yo, your brother needs a partner, ballroom and Latin partner. It's you. You're up. And I was like, I'm what? And she's like, yeah, we danced our first competition. We won and the rest is history. I think in high school, I realized in about grade 10 that there wasn't money to study.
This was in Cape Town?
This was in Cape Town. I was born, raised
community?
Cape Town. So now my family live in Easter River, Blue Downs.
Yeah.
But I was born in Manenberg.
Manenberg, okay.
Yeah, raised in Tafelsig, Mitchell's Plain, and then moved to Blue Downs. I think it was, we used to call it Standard 8.
Yeah.
That's how old I am.
Yeah, it's okay, don't worry.
That's how old I am.
It's okay.
When I was in Standard 8, I realized that, the means
Guys,
to
that's
study...
grade 10, right? Oh, sorry, that's grade 6.
No, grade 10.
Yes.
Because
I don't know, either add 2 or subtract 2.
Add 2.
Add 2.
Add 2, okay.
Add 2, yes. Do you have kids?
No.
Oh, you know this already?
Yeah.
And then great as a parent because I had to feel, I'm like, you're in grade what, my love? Grade how much? Then I'm like, count. And then the grade 0 and the grade R. I'm like, what is that? We were just like chucked into primary school. Here you go. Can't even count. Nothing. Like I was in grade 1, sub A. And I was speaking Afrikaans. My mom was like, no, you need to learn to speak English. She put me in English sub A while I could only speak Afrikaans. I was like, what are these people saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so in Standard 8, grade 10, I realized that the means to study weren't really available. And then I was like, cool, you need to focus on what else you're going to do because you need to leave. You need to get out of Cape Town. You need to go explore what's out there in the country, in the world. And then I focused really hard on dance and I got into my first company straight after matriculating.
What do you wish you didn't have to sacrifice to be as good and as successful as you are today?
You know, there's a conversation going on at the moment, and it's about what I feel I have to sacrifice now, actually. So I'm gonna say this: being a colored woman in South Africa isn't the easiest thing. Being colored in South Africa isn't the easiest thing. You can go on screen, I mean, you can watch TV, you can pause the PVR and you can look at the credits and there's not one colored performer on that show. And it's not one show, it's not 2 shows, it's not 3, it's not 4, it's not 5, it's not 6. The number goes on and on. And my thing is, here we are in a diverse South Africa and I've been faced with, I've been having this dialogue with a few people because I wanted to get their view on it. And someone said to me, well, why don't you learn to speak Zulu? Or why don't you learn to speak Tswana? And I was like, well, I guess that would be like the oppressor asking you to speak English, isn't it? Because now I have to change an element of myself or add an element of myself so I can book work. So now I'm going to be a colored woman speaking Zulu. So when you look away from the screen, I really could be black, isn't it? So if you had to ask me what has been the most difficult thing to sacrifice, I would say that the most difficult thing to be right now is colored in this country.
Lockdown.
You
had to get into a character of an environment that you grew up in. You grew up in Manenberg. you grew up in a neighborhood that is known for all the negative stuff that they always portray
mostly.
out there.
Yeah.
I grew up in almost a similar township.
Yes.
But then there you are in prison portraying this
yes.
female prisoner who's like, lockdown, guys, lockdown. Tell us about your experience in lockdown.
You know, lockdown.
Shout out to Mandla N, by the way.
Yeah, the boss. I call him the boss.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It takes a real man to be able to direct a female cast with the kind of sensitivity he does.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on. You know, our DOP Gaupi is a female. If you see her, she's this short and she commands a group of men, crew.
What's up, Kira?
Like, listen, like, if I had to choose a female crush, it would be her. Like, I watch her on that set and I'm like, look at this woman speaking to men, and there's an equality and a respect that doesn't depend on a title. You gotta come experience that. The cast on Lockdown, the women are just phenomenal. There's like, you know that end girl hate slogan? You can go experience the reality of that when you come to that set. It's easy not to hate girls when you don't have to see them every day. You know what I mean? But when you're seeing each other every day, the amount of love and sincerity there is, you can't come close to that. For me, the best set I've ever worked on. Playing Tyson for me, I mean, I've been in the industry for what, 14 years? And the reality for me is it's the first time I've really booked a job where people have looked at my skill. I've gone to castings before to play roles that are similar or that are a little bit hard, a little bit raw. And people would look at me and go, you know what, you don't look colored enough, eh? Or your hair's like a little bit too straight to be colored. Or you know what, you don't look raw enough, eh? Or you don't, and I'm like, wow. Then there are colored women out there are going for castings and they don't look colored enough because they look too black. I'm like, what do you want? A colored look is not a specific look. We are of all colors and shapes and sizes. So for me, playing Tyson was essentially a liberation and a freedom for me, because now it's like suddenly people are like, geez, you're talented. I'm like, I've been talented.
She's being talented, yeah.
That's what I've been saying. It's just that you've been putting me in heels and skirts because you were making the best out of my legs and my body, which is not really who I am. Who I am is greater and far beyond what vessel my spirit is carried in, you know? So ultimately, if you had to ask me the highlights, Tyson #1 and then Charmaine second. And Charmaine used to be first because I got to do both, you know, dance and acting. Now it's Tyson because I understand that there are many women who have been put into boxes and who have been forced to behave, to act, to speak, to dress a certain way. And even though I didn't know that I was being limited, when I portrayed Tyson, I realized that I'd been in a cage for a really long time.